I would accept a motion to approve financial report.
I'll make the motion.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay. Frank,
Okay.
you have some updates for us?
I do. I'm gonna give you a couple updates. Take us off. It's a little warm now. You can see Market Street Plaza got moving. That is an RDC project, by the way.
Right.
That is really our first project since I've been here with the Redevelopment Commission. The foundation, it's up to the floor level. They said they were gonna pour concrete today. I highly doubt that.
I don't think.
I highly doubt that. So it'll probably go into next week would be my guess. Once they get the concrete poured, then they'll finish laying the block. And then they'll go on with the roof. And they're still saying probably the first or second week of November, they should have their portion of it done. Then Paul Martin will fall in right behind him and start doing the concrete work. I ran all the conduit. I get there early mornings and run the conduit when no one's there. And then once they get everything poured over the winter, my plan is to go there. I want to water the entire thing. The reason I'm doing that, our quotes came in about $250,000 to wire this thing. I was like, it's a stage. I can wire 5 houses for $250,000. So we're going through and I'm doing all the wiring, and that's part of my background. So that's what we're going to do to save some money. But that project's come along good. We do have the Celebration of the Village. Will be the first event for that. We're combining that with the food truck challenge. So it's going to be another big event downtown. I know we funded Second Street Park. That's coming along. I know they got the concrete done. We're kind of waiting on, there's one more concrete section that has to be done. Then they're going to start putting the turf in there. And then the company that's building Reed Hospital is actually going to build the shelter now.
Oh,
They volunteered their time and they're looking to do a project in Roberts Park as well for one of the restroom facilities we want to put up there. So it's been good to have them around. So that project's coming along. I think those are 2 projects that we funded to give updates on. I do have Adam here, and Adam and I is going to kind of talk about this a little bit. Adam, do you have anything to talk about first before we dive into this?
Nope, no, I don't, Mayor.
Okay. Just going through union negotiations and just trying to, it's not even that, it's just everyone keeps asking the same question. And I was laying in bed, I don't know, Sunday night and going, this is driving me crazy. So I gotta get an answer to this question. Everyone keeps saying, they keep comparing us, and Dylan, like you're hearing this to help you because we're hearing the exact same thing. All these other communities are paying a lot more than we are. And everyone wants to know, well, how are they doing that when they're smaller than us? You get the same thing a lot? I get that all the time.
That other counties are smaller than us?
No, other communities are smaller than us, like Greensburg Fire Department. Greensburg's a lot smaller than Connersville.
Oh, well.
And so I get that kind of perspective, but they keep bringing up the donut counties and how can they afford this? But our tax base is largely generated through property tax. And we know the state hurt us bad this year on our property tax revenue. So I wanted to see, well, how can they do it and we can't, because we're a lot larger than, not necessarily the whole county. So I had to pull county numbers. So each county is going to be different. But if you look at assessed value, the whole county assessed value, and I sent these to Adam. I said, make sure I got my numbers right. And there could be some nuances in here. We still haven't had a chance to sit down and really confirm them. I think Adam has a little bit. But if you look at Decatur County, which is where Greensburg is, everyone talks about, now Decatur County goes into Batesville too, if I remember right. Is that correct? So there's 2 cities in Decatur County.
Franklin County takes care, Franklin County and,
Batesville's just in Franklin County.
I think it's in
half.
Decatur County as well.
Okay. Well, either way,
Franklin
Decatur County,
Yeah.
their assessed
No,
value,
Franklin and Ripley.
Franklin Ripley. Well, their assessed value is $1.963 billion. Henry County, $1.987 billion. Wayne County, $2.7 billion. Rush County, $1.28 billion. Franklin County, $1.46 billion. Fayette County, $900 million.
Yeah.
You see that that's
the problem.
I've been saying this from day one, and Adam can confirm it. So I keep saying we got to grow our AV. So I dove in a little further. Let's look at some other things, because most of these other counties have had TIF in place for a long time. Most of the other counties have had PS tax in for a long time, a jail tax, and a cum caps. So how does the TIF value equate to the AV. So we pulled up the TIF real estate value. Decatur's $163 million in TIF. Henry County's $115 million in TIF. Wayne County's $156 million in TIF. And Rush County is $14 million in TIF. Franklin County is $23 million in TIF. And Fayette is $9 million, but all that goes back to the building owner. It doesn't stay here. So you can see the direct correlation in overall AV, TIF AV, and what it does to your overall AV. It's a huge bonus. If you look at public safety tax, Decatur, $1.7 million every year. Henry County, $1.4 million. Wayne County did not report, and I don't think they're going to get in trouble for that because they had to, that should have already been done. Rush County, 962, and they've got 2 PS tax. I don't know, you can answer this. Did one go for their new jail, or do you know? Or did they
Probably.
implement a new one for the jail outside of the 2?
Yes, they have.
Okay, so that one probably has been reported yet because it wasn't implemented yet, be my guess. Franklin County, $2.3 million, and no, they have 2 as well, but I'm not for sure where that split is. Fayette County, we're looking to get $1.1 million. Ours is not certified. We just got ours in place, so we don't have a clue. But you can see the big difference there. Jail tax, Decatur County on top of PS tax has a $6 million jail tax. Henry is 2.3 million. Wayne didn't report. Rush and Franklin doesn't show, and then Fayette County is around 900 million. And that goes all towards the jail. Cume cap.
900,000.
I'm sorry, 900,000. I say million. Yeah, you wish it's 900 million, don't you?
You're dreaming again.
I mean,
I knew what you meant.
we used to say million here. Cume cap, Decatur's 272,000. Henry County's 525,000. Rush County's 379,000. Franklin County's 327,000. Fayette's 252,000. So you can see these other counties, when we keep getting compared with other counties, there's big differences. And a lot of them say, well, Connersville's a lot bigger than these other cities. We should be doing more. Well, we can't because our AV is that much lower. So the answer is, and Adam, what we've said this all the time, we got to grow that AV, right?
So how do we do that?
Absolutely.
And that is exactly what we're doing. So we got TIF in place. Now, I'll never see the realization of TIF. That takes years to implement. But it's now a tool we have. Fortunately, the forefathers of all these counties were smart enough in the 90s to put TIF, to PS tax, and jail tax in place. We fought it. And we're reaping the benefits of what we fought. We really are.
Yeah.
And so are they. They're reaping the benefits of what they got. And that's the benefit of it. So we got TIF in place. We're marketing that. We're growing that. We're focused on placemaking projects. Placemaking attracts people here, attracts companies here. Used to, you would attract a business here and people would come. And it's not that way anymore.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't have a community where the executives and the people feel like they can live and their people can live, they won't come. So that's why we're focused on placemaking. We've got, for your information, just so you know, the placemaking projects, you've got Second Street Park's a placemaking project. I really didn't have anything to do with that. Market Street Plaza is a placemaking project. The string lights downtown, the plants, that's all placemaking.
The lights are beautiful. I've had people from out of town tell me that.
You know, I get it all the time. I get so many people, man, I wish our downtown looked like this. Everyone that comes to our community. Now, people from the community say otherwise.
Yeah.
And every time I go to a community, I was like, man, I wish ours, we had that. I go, man, I wish our people thought that. It doesn't matter where you go.
Yeah.
You do something, everyone hates it, everyone else loves it. So we're focused, we got the parks plan. We're building the skate park up there and pump track. Inclusion Park's going to be built up there. Office Park's getting a fitness park put in. That's all under with the design's done that. We actually bid it. We're going to have to rebid it because it came in too high. But all these projects are happening and we're in the running for a $5 million Lilly grant. We made the second round and that'll be for trails. We tried to put the money towards River's Edge. No one will fund baseball complexes anymore. But we did present to council an option to help pay for River's Edge, at least get the fields out there during the budget cycle, and we'll see what they decide to do with that. But that's what we're focused on with placemaking and really trying to draw people to our community. That's what Celebration of the Ville is. That's why we did the food truck challenge.
Right.
We're trying to do more events. People want to participate in these events. So
I think the food truck challenge last year was pretty successful, isn't it?
it was. We changed a lot this year. last year we just opened up to however many trucks we can get. We had like 70 trucks, I think. This year we kind of, we can't really do it at the airport anymore. The FAA is kind of being more difficult to work with. And I've even had other mayors reach out to me because they saw our event and they want to do something at the airport, and the FAA is kind of, they're wanting money off the top now and doing all these different things. Like, we lost money. We didn't make money. And I was a nervous wreck the entire time up there at the airport. I really was. Just people walking around, planes coming in. I knew all the guidelines, the rules and regs, and I was a nervous wreck. Plus, we had 150 volunteers sign up. Less than 100 showed up. And it was just, the ones who volunteered were exhausted, wore out, and they're like, we can't do this anymore. We got to do something different. And so we decided to really shift gears and downsize it. We limited the trucks we have. We're trying to get more
Diversity.
diversity of trucks. We're going to do it here because we're building the it's like this, instead of doing 2 big events that's killing all volunteers, let's focus on one. And that's what we're going to do, is put it into one so we're not burning people out.
Right.
We'll do smaller ones throughout the year here, but 2 big events just, it wore everybody out. It really did. So we just had to rethink how we do that. But that's what we're focused on.
Okay.
And Nova's a big piece of that. That's one of the reasons they came. I started negotiating with them before I was ever mayor, actually. And the way we got them was talking about placemaking, because we were competing with Dallas, who has a lot more money than we do. And they offered them a whole lot more money, but we talked about some different things and was able to track them that way. But anyway, that's really all I have. If you have any questions, but I thought those numbers just on the AV was stark. It opened my eyes big time.
I wonder if you can measure the demographics, how the age of the population.
Yes, I can.
Sense.
I'll
Probably
just-
values on what
yeah.
you're-
But I bet you that's a big thing too. I bet you our populations are older than,
You know, I don't know the answer to that. I can dig into that to find that out, but that's a good point.
What I don't know, and this, you guys do know, how does this, is there, like, how do residences get assessed? The assessor, but then you hire companies to do that too. Is there some, is there some, like, is it possible that Fayette County is assessing the residences too low? Is that possible?
Well, that certainly went on in the past. There is a state or a statutory formula for assessing.
Mm-hmm.
And our current assessor is following the rules in that respect. And since he's been there, our AV has gone up considerably. Prior to him, there was a 12-year period where county assessor did everything she could to keep assessed values low.
Right.
And we're now reaping, or we have been reaping benefits of that. She never understood the correlation between assessed value and tax collections and everything else.
So it can be somewhat controlled by the assessor. Like it could,
It can certainly be affected by the assessor, yes.
that's,
But I don't think that's the answer. I think they're using the correct formula now. The other communities just have had the tools to grow, and we haven't.
Well,
I think
there's
that's the
a reason for
biggest-
that too,
There is.
because we reject every new idea that comes down the path here.
That's
And that
exactly right.
has got me in trouble a number of times because I firmly believe opportunity only knocks once.
Right.
Every time opportunity is knocked here, there's been a very loud and vocal group. One neighborhood over the other says, no, we do not want that. They did not want a prison to locate here. They didn't want this. They didn't. I can remember back a whole long list of opportunities that we had to grow the economy here, and it was rejected by
one group or another.
one group or another. Most recently, a industrial solar farm out in the west part of the county, which we're still under this moratorium, but when that ends, I don't think that that developer will be back because they,
Well, I think that developer's likely gone because of Rush County anyway.
well,
This was kind of, Fayette County was kind of just a add-on to the Rush County portion of it. But, and I don't know what the new plan is, there's always going to be companies looking to do it. And I don't know if the new ordinance is going to be favorable to those or not.
well, my guess is it won't be. But my contention with the people that I have to deal with has always been that if we don't do something to diversify our tax base here, property taxes will eventually become unbearable for property owners. And I think we're approaching that. And it's due to the fact that we have turned away so many potential opportunities. I can't bring back the past.
No.
All I can do is welcome the future. And as I do that, I've got people right next to me who are fighting tooth and nail. No, we don't want any sort of change. We don't like this. We don't like that. We don't want it. We don't want it. And I get so sick and tired of fighting this.
Can you check his temperature?
Yeah.
I think for the first time, he and I's in agreement.
That AB being so much lower than like Rush County, and you have so much more constituents here that you have to service, so that's kind of.
Yeah, that's the problem. So Adam, I had Adam run some numbers because we are in the state of Indiana, we're in our community in particular, most communities are funded larger than property tax. We know the state is constantly going to change property tax and they keep going the opposite direction for us. On their behalf, it doesn't impact their budget one bit. No, property tax is only local government and federal, but it's local. That is going to change and they're trying to get us off of that system. We still have to grow our AV. There's no question about it. And you do. Change is hard. People don't accept change. I can tell you single thing that we've come in to implement, and he's been right there the whole time, has been a fight. I mean, an absolute fight.
And one thing that's a misnomer to me that I think you guys should really think about, and you're not really going to impact it, but everybody always wants to keep the local income taxes or local taxes as low as possible. You know, you don't want the assessor to raise your property values. You don't want all these things to happen. When young people, he's an exception because of his love for this community. When young people look for a place to go, they do not look up, I wonder what my local taxes are going to be. I wonder how they assess my property values. I wonder what, they don't do that. They look for amenities.
Right.
And all the places that have all the amenities are not the places in the state with the lowest taxes. It's not cheap to live in Carmel.
Correct.
You're going to get taxed out the tail, but it's worth it for young people because you've got amenities. You've got, you can take your girlfriend out for nice dates and not, I mean, you have to have the tax base to be able to get.
Well, one of the numbers I had Adam run was because the state put a cap on us. We grew at, what was that number, Adam? 17%?
Yep, that's correct.
So we've had substantial growth, which I called out. I was like, hey, that means we're going to have a lot more money in our budget. So we started running the numbers. I said, what would that have looked like if we was able to collect that new AB growth? It was like 1.7 million, Adam, is that about right?
Yep, 1.65.
1.65, and we collected about 270,000 of that because of what the state did to us. And that's it. I mean, that doesn't go very far, especially when you got high inflation, pays are going up. But that's why I keep looking at is those numbers are start, but what do we do to change those numbers? And I'm not for sure. I don't know what's going to happen with property tax. We know they're going to reduce it. That is coming. They've said it. The new governor, well, not yet. They've all said, even everyone running for governor, so they're going to cut taxes. State legislature is going to cut property taxes. And then they keep adding more expense to us. And we don't get a choice over that. So that's why I want to bring the numbers to the table so you can see everything. And sometimes it gets very frustrating. I know Jeff hears me vent quite a bit because I try not to vent on people. But when I do vent, he knows I'm venting and he lets me vent. But we will find a solution for this. And I think the state is forcing us, and I mean, you've been around longer than anyone here on the government side. I think they're forcing us to go with the fees schedule just like they do. I think they're trying to get us off of property taxes.
They don't tell me what their long-range plan.
No, but you can see the writing on the wall, what they're doing.
Well, I get really tired of the state legislature playing politics with
Yeah.
property taxes. They do it almost every year.
So they've capped us at 4% growth for 3 years. They capped us at 2. Everyone complained. So what they do in their wisdom, they capped us for another year. Because we told them, at the end of 2 years, you're creating a hurricane, not just a storm. You create a hurricane because it's going to look like everyone's property taxes shot through the roof because you've artificially kept it low.
Right.
So within their wisdom, said, well, we'll keep it low one more year. See if we can figure it out. So I don't know what's going to happen. I know I plan for them cutting it. That's all we can do. So I'm very conservative on our budgets and everything we're doing, but yeah, they made life absolutely difficult for us. We work through it though.
So how many abatements do we have?
Abatements, I'm not for sure. I'm actually not a fan of abatement. And I can tell you why. Go ahead.
I think we have 5 or 6.
Yeah, our building was on an abatement for 10 years. But we had to do the building. We started out, when we started looking at building the building, we had 25 people. We've got 45 or 46 now. The goal was to add 7. So we've exceeded that goal. And we appreciate the tax abatement. But I'm not a fan for renewing those all the time. It helped us get rolling.
Yeah, that's the only tool we had at the time.
Yeah.
If we would have had TIF in place, it would have changed the game for you and for the community, because TIF, we could do something different. So you're building a brand new building. So that's that difference in new value. I cannot take a new difference in value and give it back to you to help for infrastructure cost. Same dollar amounts. The difference is you're getting the savings still and still building your business. We start collecting a tax immediately.
Right.
Where an abatement is, when they give you a 10-year abatement.
Gave us 10 years, so it stepped up.
So for 10-year, our cost went up on what we have for service we gotta provide.
Right.
And our income did not for 10 years. Where TIF says our services go up, but we now get a new revenue to help offset those costs. That's the advantage of TIF. It's a win-win for you. It's a win-win for our community.
Well, we spent a little over $3 million building that building. It was additional taxes. We already pay our taxes on existing infrastructure. Right. So it was additional taxes. So I didn't really have a problem accepting that.
No, I understand that.
And it helped.
That's the only way I could get over here. I did not have TIF as an option for them. And I had to use abatements. And it's a 10-year abatement. That's $135 million worth of equipment that's going to be abated that we're not going to collect anything for 8 years, I think, is what it is, 6 or 8 years.
You don't collect anything? Ours stepped up 10% a year.
After 6 or 8 years, it steps up. But there's another reason it stepped up. The state did not call me like they should have on that. That ticks me off. But that's why I don't like abatements. It's a good tool if that's all you have.
Yeah.
But what they're also finding out was some companies were going in getting a 10-year abatement, setting shop for 10 years, getting an abatement, then moving to another community, getting an abatement, moving to this community, getting an abatement. And they were just moving from community to community and never paying their property taxes. And that's what they were doing. So that a lot of communities got hurt by that. They weren't paying attention to their abatements. That's really where TIF come about. Because it kind of stops that. Because if they move out, I still have those dollars to stay here on everything we invested. So that's why I like TIF so much better. And when I first came in office, to be honest, I hated TIF because I didn't understand it.
Yeah.
But I've been sitting through a lot of trainings and trying to understand it and like, okay, this makes sense now.
And it's easy to say that you can hardball the abatements, or you can put, you can make it happen quicker. Why even give abatements and all those things? But then you're not getting 150 jobs. You're not getting $50 million investment in your community. Right. You're not getting that. You know what I mean? It's kind of easy to, my initial thoughts were always like, well, why do you get abatements? Well, because Houston's going to get this company, then or Dallas is going to get this company.
That's all we had.
So you have to use what's at your disposal in it.
Yeah. So, we're looking at expanding again. We probably won't ask for an abatement this time. We'll see.
You are adjacent to a TIF district, so you could, isn't it, did I go down that far? I gotta look at the map. we could use TIF as a tool. Maybe, I gotta see,
We're,
because you're not in the TIF district, but I think you're adjacent to it. I think we can still do that, like I see.
you know, if everything lines up, we're gonna grow some more.
Good.
We're at capacity. So recycling business is good.
That's good. That's what we like to hear.
So I can't say any more than that because I can't.
No,
see
you're
the
fine.
future.
You're fine. But you know, when it comes time to your financials and crunching numbers, I get all that. So we can sit down and see what we can do.
All right.
The more we help each other grow, the better we are.
Mhm.
Because then what we do is if there, sometimes right now, there's not many proceeds from a TIF left because costs are so high. If there's proceeds, those proceeds can be used to fund placemaking projects to help attract more people to live here. That's how they're doing that. Some communities use TIF to fund their police and fire because you can do that as well. There's a lot of different funding mechanisms you can use.
We have a good relationship with the fire department. So it hasn't always been easy in Connersville when we first started. Everybody that had an odor of any kind, we got blamed for it by the water Connersville utilities. You know, it was first, but the relationship's good now.
Good.
And we tell other people that too. So
Good. All right, well, unless you got anything else.
You're done?
That was a long-winded one. I just wanted to share one of the numbers. I mean, because it's,
good.
it starts.
Common sense. I mean, you don't have to be the smartest guy in the place to see that that's really what the problem is.
Well, no, a lot of
That's
people are
right.
short-sighted.
Well,
Yeah.
They
this
just see this.
proves what we've been saying. So I could say that, but just because I say it doesn't mean it's,
Yeah.
that's my opinion.
It's short-sighted. Perfect. Dale just gave a perfect example. I mean, it would make sense if you knew nothing about governments and you became an assessor. It makes sense to let all your peers to have lower taxes, like property tax. That makes sense. Like that's like, okay, we want this to be a nice community. We want the assessed values to stay low. We want to do all those things. But the reality is it really hurts your government. It really hurts your community.
Yeah.
Michael Hicks has done a county by county study of the entire country, not just Indiana. He's with Ball State. He's an economist. And the reason I like him so much is, most economists I can't stand. They drive me crazy. They're skewed on their opinions. He's the first economist that said, here's my study. I disagreed with it, but my study proved me wrong. I was like, now that's someone I think I want to listen to a little bit. So he pulled up the study in every county. He pulled off tax rates and where people are moving from. He's done, it's a huge study. And he said, guess where people are moving to? Higher tax areas or lower tax areas? My guess is lower tax are going to move to. He goes, no. It's not extremely high tax, but they're moving to it. They're willing to pay a little more on taxes to get the services as many as they want, and that's where they're moving to. So if you have a low tax community and there's a higher tax community right over here, they're moving there. And that's exactly what's happening here. We're in the middle of 3 major cities, Dayton, Cincinnati, and Indianapolis, within 50 minutes. We are one of the lowest cost of living in the state. By that theory, we should be booming.
Right.
And we're not. We've been going the other direction.
Right.
Why is that? We don't have the services and amenities, which is why I'm focused on placemaking service and amenities.
Right.
Yeah. So that's a long way to get around about what I'm doing, but there's some methods to my madness.
So tell me more about the trail system you're talking about.
The trail system, it's, when we, one of the things with our community is you try to change anything, Dale just said this, they fight it. It doesn't matter what it is. Change a stop sign, is what happens.
Oh, yeah.
When I first came in office, I had people just beat me up over the Nickel Plate Trail. I was like, I don't understand. There was just some of the neighborhood, but there was the way it went in, people just, everyone's going to die if you do this. No one's died up there. That's not bad. But they went off on it. Now people use it, and guess what I hear now?
Need more.
We want more of that.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, I want that in my neighborhood now. Well, you fought it when it was up there. Yeah, we didn't know anything about it. So
Yeah.
we always start small and then everyone will want it. When we did our last, we did a public meeting for the parks when we were doing the skate park and everything. Well, what do you want to see in the park? Number one thing, more trails. It's the first time that's ever happened. So I was like, what do you mean more trails in the park? Everybody said, yeah, but in specific, we'd like to see more in the park. I was like, we got roads everywhere. Why don't you just walk on the roads? And the answer came back was, well, all those little walls are where people don't, you can't get off the road when cars come by, so they don't walk on the roads, they don't feel safe. I was like, I never would have thought of that. So I went home and asked my kids, because they like to walk nickel plate down to high school. I said, why don't you walk in the park? Well, it's not safe. I never would have thought of that.
Yeah.
So, the first phase of that will be putting a trail all around the park. And I forget how many miles it was. It was a decent trail. But it connects the skate park, Miller Building, it connects to everything. And then to get across 30th Street safely, because there's not a good crossing, there's a crossing there, but it's not the best. Connect that to Nickel Plate to Walmart, all the way down to, we got the walking path up there on 37th Street now we put in. And then from 30th Street all the way down to Ivy Tech is our plan, putting a trail in through there.
Awesome. The reason I ask, I know a group of guys that take their bicycles up to the Cardinal Trail and ride it every week.
It's a long trail.
Yeah, is the trail gonna be walking only, or is it
No,
gonna?
both walking and riding. The only,
I ride
it
a
has to be,
bicycle a lot, you know.
it has to be 8 or 10 feet wide to be both, and that's what we'll do. But that's kind of the plan with that. I'd like to connect it further down the Ivy Tech, but it's a $5 million grant. Believe it or not, that's all. I'm gonna get for 5 million now.
I'm not surprised.
But isn't the trail running on the east side of the track there at the park?
Yeah,
On the other side of it.
It's on the other side.
Yeah.
There's not enough room between the road and the tracks because of the signs and everything.
Okay.
If the billboards weren't there, then it'd be a lot easier, but they're there. So we got Duke's in favor of it. I've got the railroad in favor of it. So
Yeah, the railroad let us pave that little strip alongside our property. Looks better.
that's kind of the plan. I'd like to connect it all the way downtown, but that's gonna be another thing, a lot more money. So we want to at least get it started. Take
You
what we
know,
have
but
and-
one bite at a time.
You betcha. But if we get the skate park, the inclusion park and these trails, that can be an $8 million investment just in the park system.
Somebody needs to put a bike shop in Connersville.
I think it'll happen when you get to skate park and pump track. The pump track's gonna be a big draw.
Yeah.
Okay.
Awesome. Thanks.
Dan isn't with us today, so we can't, I wasn't able to attend the EDG meeting yesterday. Anything new happening there?
Dale's gonna give me $1 million, he said.
Who did?
Dale's gonna put his name on Mark. It's gonna be,
He said his name ain't worth that much.
well, it depends on how he does it. If he gives $1 million or $1.5 million, it's either Dale at Market Street Plaza or Dale Strong at Market Street Plaza. Dale Strong Center.
I wonder what the return on that investment would be.
For you or for me?
I know what it would be for you.
I hope Dan's good.
I did tell the EDG board that I'm being sarcastic, but we're offering naming rights for that. I was talking to Richmond, some people in Richmond, and there's a center where they do the fairgrounds that was just dilapidated and they needed to fix it up. It was gonna cost a lot. So they sold naming rights and that took care of the remodel and the programming and everything. What I'm gonna do is I'm offering naming rights to take care of the programming. Because it takes a lot of funds to raise, like Celebration of Ville, we're trying to raise 30 grand. I mean, it's expensive doing these events. So I can schedule events out a couple years in advance, because right now we're trying to raise the money. We try to get a band. It's very difficult time wise.
Right.
And then there's a couple tech things I'd like to do with those dollars. I'm holding off on them right now because I'm trying to be very frugal and saving some money so I get to tech, but we always put banners up. Banners are expensive to print. They only last 1 year. And every time the wind blows, they're a nightmare. You can't see them. I want the TV screens to swing out. They're LED, they're cased. And then we run all of our banner advertisements during the performance on those. So if someone wants to donate 5 grand or whatever,
We take
Yeah.
donations all
Yeah.
throughout the year.
we can just build all these TV screens and we can do flash screens. So I just try to eliminate the clutter on stage.
Right.
And if we have a bigger show, John's got cameras, we can pipe a camera feed and you can see the performers going on stage. So that's kind of what I want to do with those dollars. But it would be like, the Dell Center at Market Street Plaza or something like that. So I kind of like that.
Well, okay, I'm glad you did.
I think that was a yes one.
I think so. I'm just trying to know if it's Dale or Dale Strong. So one's 1 million, one's 1.5.
Okay. Sort all that out.
Yeah. Got your budget all set up?
Yeah.
Okay, is there any new business to bring before the board? No? Okay. With that being said, are we meeting the third Friday or the fourth?
I have
Friday?
October 18th, and the only reason
Okay,
is that is fall break for the high school.
oh, okay, October 18th,
So if we can do the 18th, I know that's moving it up a week.
okay.
You can do it fall break. It's up to you guys. I just kind of put that on there. I didn't know what your all schedule was with fall break. I know I'll be here, but I just didn't know what y'all wanted to do. You tell me,
Okay with everyone?
That works with me.
the 18th or fall break?
18th.
Okay.
Okay. With that being said, good, I would accept the motion for adjournment.
I'll make the motion.
All right,
I'll second.
and we have a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Motion carried.